Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to look at another modern living legend from the Rolex family. A bit of an oddball too in Rolex, in that this watch has quite a bit of personality, and there's even some cool little touches that are really kind of interesting to see on a modern Rolex. So this is the 11660. This is the modern Sea Dweller Deep Sea. I know a lot of you guys out there have messaged me and told me that you really like Submariners, but you're not a fan of the Cyclops. Well, that's one thing the Sea Dweller has always had going for it. If you want a date feature but you don't want a Cyclops, the Sea Dweller has always been the way to go. But this isn't just any Sea Dweller, this is the Deep Sea, and this watch is incredible in terms of its capabilities. This watch is more capable than I can imagine anybody would really ever need it to be. And in particular too, this one is the special deep blue with the dial that fades from blue to black. And it's going to be a little hard to pick up in here. I apologize, I'm not at my studio, and I'm actually visiting my friends over at Bernard Watch again. So there's going to be some little glare on the dial, you have to forgive me for that, but the contrast between like the midnight blue to the black is super, super cool. I like dark, moody colors, and it's a really nice effect, and especially when you consider this came from a company like Rolex, which isn't really a company you consider overly playful. And in the last several years, we've definitely seen them get a little bit more so. And I have to say too, I love the deep sea and green there too. This watch definitely has a lot of personality, and that's befitting too because it has a lot of bulk to it and heft. This is not your standard size 40mm Rolex dive watch. This thing is actually what they call 44.5, so just about 45 millimeters. This thing is a big watch, and I'd say if anything it wears bigger than that. It has a lot of presence, and I think that's part of the reason why these watches are so popular, is that you definitely have a lot of presence on the wrist wearing a timepiece like this. Now, when I was mentioning earlier that this has far more capability than I think you'd ever really need, when you buy a Sea Dweller, you're literally buying a ludicrously capable dive instrument. As you can see on the dial, it actually says for you, this watch is rated to 12,800 feet or 3,900 meters. That is absurd. I cannot imagine that most people that are going to be buying this watch are concerned about that, but if you want to play one-upmanship with your friends in the office, the odds of somebody walking in with a higher rated dive watch than you are slim to none. This definitely wins bragging rights in the dive watch realm. And you know, it's nice that you can have a watch so capable and yet, you know, with all the hallmarks of a true Rolex. I mean, the build quality of a Rolex is very utilitarian, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. This is a watch that's going to hold up through many, many years of abuse and you know, corporate meetings and trips to the beach with the family. I mean, Rolexes are known for their durability, and this watch is no different. But unlike most Rolexes of the past, you're also going to get a lot of playfulness with this watch, which is something you usually see with companies that are less reserved than Rolex. And so this is a really kind of cool direction they've gone. And so, as it is a traditional Rolex dive watch, you will get traditional functionality. If you guys have owned Sea Dwellers or Submariners in the past, there's going to be a lot of things here you recognize and some things you don't. So one of the things you're first going to notice is, of course, Rolex's very traditional dive bezel. Now, as this is a current generation watch, and I know you guys are going to ask me, retail on these things is about $12,350, I believe, currently. Current generation, they all use a ceramic bezel insert, which I'm a huge fan of. Now, personally, I actually wore a older generation Rolex today for this review. I'm actually wearing my old Yacht-Master, and this is back in the day when these were aluminum bezel inserts. And you can kind of see the contrast here. The ceramic is a very nice upgrade, and the depth of the markers too, as they're recessed into the ceramic. It's a very nice feeling piece, and as you would expect, it's 120 clicks. And as it's a Rolex, it turns with the kind of precision and solidarity you would expect of a watch of this caliber. And as I do in every video, I know somebody will always ask me how this thing works. It's actually really simple. You just line up the dot here to the minute hand, and as time elapses, you can keep track of, by reading the bezel, how much time has passed. This could be great for timing your time in the boardroom, or actually using it as a dive watch and keeping track of your bottom time. It's a really useful function, very simple in the way that it operates, and it is unidirectional, so you can never take away time, you can only add time, which is great if you're timing something that's of crucial importance, like your oxygen, for example. Traditional Mercedes handset, as you would expect on most Rolex dive watches, and you also see it says original gas escape valve. Again, you'll have to pardon me for the flare or the glare going on here. Ring lock system. So there is this little bubble on the side here, and a lot of people don't know what that is. That actually is the helium or gas escape valve. So this thing will automatically open to release helium from the watch itself. Now, those of you in the audience that are saturation divers, if you want to elaborate on that some more, feel free. I am not a diving expert, so I will leave that to you guys. As I was saying, this is an extremely chunky watch. I believe it actually is up to about 19 millimeters. I mean, it is a hefty piece, and a lot of that would go to, of course, the construction of ensuring that it meets these absurdly large water depth ratings. Now, as it is a Rolex dive watch, it has the traditional 3 dots on the crown because it's a trip lock crown. And one of the easiest ways you can tell if you have a trip lock crown, besides the 3 dots, is actually you can see the seal as you unscrew it, because there's an immediately obvious seal here. That little black gasket. There's actually 3 seals here, but this is the one you can see exposed, and this is all part of ensuring the watch remains watertight. So even those of you in this audience wearing a Submariner right now, you'll recognize your trip lock seals as well. And this actually shares the same movement as the Submariner and Sea Jewelers de Heuer. So this uses the Rolex in-house 31-35 movement. It functions as those do. So first position, once you unscrew the threaded crown, is winding. And it, you know, if you've held a Rolex-based movement architecture of 30-35, 31-35, 31-85, the feeling of this, the precision, is exactly what you would expect of those movements. These movements have been around since the late 80s, and Rolex keeps them around because they're wonderful. They're extremely reliable. As you can see, they have a beautiful 28,800 beat per hour sweep. And they're just wonderful, wonderful movements. I believe they have 31 joules, if I recall correctly. And they do exactly what you'd expect. So again, first position is winding. Second position, you can change the date. And I know for those of you that are familiar with Rolex, it's kind of weird if you haven't seen one without a Cyclops before. That has actually a better sense of how big your date really is without the Cyclops. So just for comparison here, you kind of take for granted how much a Cyclops actually magnifies the date. But I know a lot of you guys would probably actually prefer that. So that's second position. And third, as you can see, it's hacking, the second hand stops, and you can accurately set the time. Now ideally you wait for the second hand to rest at 12, and then you can set the time perfectly to an atomic clock, or you can just go Google current time where you are, and you can line up second for second with your clock. Now again, to ensure the watch is watertight, you want to make sure you push and twist forward the crown to rethread it. That's going to help make sure that it stays watertight. And again, that dial, you can kind of get a sense of it too, the gradient from that dark blue to black. Again, this is just such a cool thing. It's so cool to see Rolex do something so playful like this. And I love the green right there where it says deep sea. Now, as it is a Rolex, this is going to be sapphire crystal for you. And this is a newer Rolex, so the bracelet has come a long way on these watches. You know, back in the day, this is what Rolex was known for. Their old stamped fold-over clasp, their generic little Rolex logo, and these hollow light links. Rolex has come a long way. Not only do you come equipped with these solid end links now, which are a huge upgrade, and you have solid links, which of course are screwed out as Rolex always has been traditionally. The clasp itself is just a monumental upgrade over Rolexes of yore. You had this beautiful little kind of laser etched Rolex Geneva Swiss made logo in there. The finishing is superb. The way that it folds over and snaps together, it's really nice. If you guys have watched my video on my old Rolex Daytona, this had a newer generation clasp, but even this watch is a whole nother level, because not only do you have the safety here with the little Rolex crown, it actually has a little bit of a spring lever to lean it open like this. It's not just a pulled over, it actually has an action to it, and there's actually, as you can see, a full mechanism. I mean, they've really amped it up several levels. This one, as you'll see too, also has Rolex's glide lock, so you can easily adjust the length of the bracelet. And on top of that, as you would expect with a Rolex dive watch, you can actually extend it too. And there's an extension for those of you that are going to be wearing these things as they're intended with a wetsuit. So you can actually get this little bit of an extension to make up the difference on a wetsuit. So we'll go ahead and fold that back in. Again, compared to Rolexes of yore, this whole bracelet and clasp system is just, it's a revelation. As with all Rolexes, as you would expect, with the exception of, say, a Cellini prints, the case back itself is blank. I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering where the green hologram stickers are. Rolex did away with those many, many years ago. But a nice little, you know, kind of adornment you get on this that you don't see on a lot of Rolexes is there's actually some printing. Most Rolex case backs just look like this, or like that. what you got here is you actually have some nice writing, which is bespoke to the Sea Dweller line, Rolex Oyster Deep Sea, Sea Dweller, and it gives you the depth rating, and there's a little Rolex crown. It's a nice touch, and I really like that Rolex is finally giving a little bit of attention to their case backs. Again, it's a nice job. Overall, this is an extremely cool watch. I understand that $12,000 for a dive watch may seem extreme to some, unless you're of the Blancpain 50 Fathoms crowd. But again, the utilitarian nature means this watch is going to be reliable and accurate for many, many years to come. And the specs and the abilities that this watch comes with are, crazy. This watch has far more going for it than I would think even the most serious diver would probably ever need to ask of it. And again, I like the chunky feel too. This watch has a lot of presence, and I know a lot of you guys, when you want to spend a lot of money on a watch, you want to have that presence. And if you want that kind of wrist presence, this is definitely a nice way to go. I'll go ahead and give it to you on my wrist here quick, which is just under 7 inches. And we'll enjoy that beautiful clasp. It snaps in with such precision, a little safety there with the crown. And there you can see, again, this is a chunky watch, but it wears very comfortably. Let me focus. And yeah, it's just got a lot of presence. And again, I apologize for all the glare. But awesome watch. The reputation is earned. Again, you're getting all the things you expect of Rolex. You're getting great resale, you're getting great durability, you're getting exceptional quality, but you're also getting something you don't really expect from a Rolex, which is some cool, playful features. The cross gradient between the blue and the black is awesome. The green is awesome. I mean, this kind of has it all going on. So I would highly recommend one. And once again, I want to thank my friends over at Bernard Watch for letting me borrow this one and share it with you all. If you want to check out what they have in their inventory, you can visit them at bernardwatch.com. And if you see anything on their website you find very interesting, shoot me a note. And when I have a chance to be back in town and visit them, I'll see if I can do a review on it. So with that said, guys, let's go ahead and we'll wrap up here. And we're back. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the review. I really hope you enjoyed it. And as always, guys, thank you so much for the support. The comment section is yours, so let me know below what you guys think of the Sea Dweller Deep Blue. It's, as you can see, a watch I'm a fan of. And but I know, taste is very much the eye of the beholder. So what do you guys think? As I mentioned, if you guys go to bernardwatch.com and see some of their stock that you like, next time I'm in the area and I can pay them a visit, I might be able to drop by and do a review of the watch you like. So keep that in mind. As always, guys, thank you so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe somewhere around my head, and that way we can keep track of each other and you can catch me on the next review. You guys are having an awesome day. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.